Bad genetics. Eat like this. In today's video, I'm going to tell you why it's actually great news for you that I don't have good genetics at all. Let's talk about that for a second. A lot of people already know me for maintaining a low body fat percentage all year round. I often been told that it's impossible to look like this without steroids, which honestly is the biggest compliment I could get. But it couldn't be further from the truth. And here's why. Here's an important fact about me. Despite the comments saying I'm just lucky, neither my personal experience nor my professional observations nor my self-reflection support the idea that I was born with good genetics. Quite the opposite. I don't have great proportions, certain muscle groups are incredibly hard for me to grow, and to top it all off, the fat on my stomach, especially the lower part, has always been the hardest to get rid of. My chest could be vascular, my shoulder is defined, but my stomach never gave in easily. And as we all know, having a flat, lean midsection is one of the most desired goals. Yes, even for me. Even during hardcore contest preps, it took drastic changes in the final days to finally see the breakthrough. If anyone knows what it means to fight for every inches of definition, it's me. I gain weight like crazy. I swear, I just look at the burger and I'm 4 pounds up. And I'm not even exaggerating. That's why over the years, I had no choice but to optimize my diet and training in a way that constantly kept me at a high level. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stood a chance. And here's the twist. This is exactly why it's going to be even easier for you. Because if I could build this up long-term with zero genetic advantage, then this isn't about luck. It's about having a system that actually works. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you right now. Before we dive in, there's one thing we need to clear up. What does diet actually mean? Because even though it's a basic term, it's still surrounded by a ridiculous amount of misconceptions. For some reason, most people still associate dieting with starving, strict rules, suffering, and saying goodbye to every joyful bite for good. By now, the word of diet has become so distorted in people's mind that hardly anyone thinks of it in a neutral or scientific way. The moment they hear it, they picture someone living off lettuce, starving, and already questioning on day 3 why they're even doing this. So what is a diet really? A diet is simply a nutritional system or eating pattern that's been designed to support a specific goal. That goal might be health-related like diabetes or food allergies, performance-based like building muscle or reducing body fat, or aesthetic like cutting or losing weight. The point is, dieting has nothing to do with starving yourself. It's a structured, intentional way of eating that takes your body's needs, your goals, and most importantly, long-term sustainability into account. When your personal trainer hands you a meal plan full of foods you hate with zero alternatives and expects you to choke it all down by force, there are 2 things you need to do. First, turn around and walk away. Second, realize that this is a guaranteed recipe for failure. A diet will only work if you can actually stick to it. That doesn't mean you won't need some willpower or compromise, but with today's knowledge, ingredient options, and nutritional science, smart dieting is easier than ever. The only thing that matters is how you approach it. To develop my own discipline and mindset, I went through structured diet phases twice a year for several years, each lasting 2 to 3 months, and I never once did it for a stage or a show. It was purely self-driven to explore my limits and challenge myself mentally and physically. Over the years, I've tested just about every approach for months or even years at a time. From classic 6 meals a day to eating 3 times, 2 times, and mixing these methods with intermittent fasting and all kinds of variations. I applied each one to bulking, maintenance, and cutting phases. I weighed my food down to the gram, tried carb cycling, intuitive eating, you name it. And looking back, I pretty much studied how my body responds across the full spectrum. That's why it matters that you enjoy the system you build. How deep does the rabbit hole go? To truly understand what triggers change in your body, whether it's your weight or your overall body composition, it's not enough to just look at training. You also have to understand how movement and macronutrients, or macros, work together as a system. But what are macros exactly? I know many of you already know this, but I want everyone to follow the thought process that's coming next, and that means we need to start with the basics. There are 3 main categories of macronutrients: protein, carbohydrates, and fat. These don't just supply energy, they also provide the essential building blocks your body needs for muscle recovery, hormonal balance, and overall performance, which means the effects of your training can't fully unfold without them. Protein is primarily responsible for muscle repair and growth. Carbs serve as your body's main fuel source, especially for high-intensity, dynamic movement. Fats are critical for hormone production, cellular structure, and long-lasting, steady energy supply. If any of these are missing or poorly balanced, your body can't adapt effectively to training and your progress will either stall or slow down significantly. Imagine it like your car. Your fuel is made up of macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats. These are what you keep moving, just like a car needs gas to go. Okay, but what if you are not just trying to go somewhere? What if you want to optimize your performance? Because you are not just a city car, you are a sports car. And that means it suddenly does matter what kind of fuel you put in and how it's blended. In this case, it's no longer just about having fuel, it's about how well balanced the components are and how they support your goal. Whether you want more speed, better handling, or a longer lifespan, the fuel composition is key. Your body works the same way. You and your training are the car, and the result, how you look, perform and progress depends entirely on what kind of fuel you put in your system. The balance of your macros matters just as much as what makes a sports car a sports car. It's not enough to eat what you eat, and in what proportion is what really makes the difference. So how does training fit into all this? When you train, your body's energy demands increase, your metabolism speeds up, and your muscles are placed under stress, triggering an adaptive process. But this only works if your body has access to the right quality and quantity of nutrients. Training alone isn't just some kind of magic fix. It doesn't burn fat on its own, and it doesn't build shape by accident. Real transformation happens when your training and nutrition form a unified system. If your goal is to lose weight and body fat, the key is a calorie deficit, meaning you consume less energy than your body uses. But if you want a more defined, tighter physique, that alone won't cut it. You will need a well-structured, progressive training plan, proper protein intake, and a carefully balanced carb-to-fat ratio that fits your lifestyle and your goals. And in today's video, we are talking about the thing most people struggle with, not just because of bad habits, but because of how modern life, desk jobs, food marketing, and the supplement industry all collide. Weight loss, or is it fat loss? Let's stop right here and dig even deeper, because 99% of people don't actually want to lose weight, they want to lose fat, and yet most end up just chasing numbers on the scale. So let's clear up a concept that, honestly, almost no one talks about. Weight loss, fat loss. A lot of people still focus on what the scale says, but the number alone doesn't tell you what you lost. Weight loss can come from water, glycogen, muscle, or fat, and that makes a massive difference. Let me give you an example. If you suddenly cut your carb intake drastically, your body will lose water. The scale goes down and you think, great, the diet is working. But that's not real fat loss, it's just an optical illusion. This is where the classic yo-yo effect starts. You've probably heard claims like, lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks, and yes, it can happen, but only if you slash your food intake, wipe out your macros, and train like a maniac every day. And this is the trap. This is where they fool you, because your body won't just burn fat, you will also lose water, and worse, you will lose muscle. And the result? Not a tighter, leaner body, but a weak, deflated physique that looks more like a ringed wetsuit than something aesthetic. And let's be honest, that's not what you're after. In contrast, if you follow a well-structured training program with a deliberate, protein-rich diet and maintain a mild calorie deficit, your body will start burning fat while preserving muscle mass. That's when your physique tightens, your lines sharpen, and the changes you see in the mirror become far more noticeable. The scale might only drop by a few pounds, but you will look leaner, stronger, and more defined. If you finally want to understand how dieting actually works, instead of guessing what, when, or why you should eat, the Final Form app is here to help. Alongside the food training programs and mindset guidance, you will get access to a 10-part video nutrition guide that walks you through every core concept step by step. Plus, you will find a recipe library filled with real meals, complete with exact macros and preparation instructions, so you will never have to guess again when building your diet around your goals. You will learn how to shift your body composition with precision, whether you're aiming to lose fat or building tighter, more functional form. Everything is synced with the workout program, so you will see how it all fits into one clear system and how you can control your progress confidently anytime for life. Download the Final Form app on the App Store or Google Play and start transforming not just your training but your entire approach to nutrition. The sacrificial soldier. Carbs have long been demonized in nearly every dieting approach, when in reality they are not the enemy at all. In fact, they are one of the most flexible and strategically useful tools you have. When it comes to weight loss, it technically doesn't matter which macronutrient, protein, fat or carbs you reduce, because it's the calorie deficit that drives change. In other words, you need to consume few calories than you burn. But if your goal isn't just weight loss, but actual fat loss, and you want to keep your muscle mass, your performance and your energy levels intact, then the balance and role of your macros matter a whole lot more. Think of a car analogy. If you're a high-performance machine, you don't just need fuel, you need the right blend. Protein plays a crucial role in preserving muscle, which is why in a well-structured diet, its intake usually stays consistent, or is even slightly higher than during maintenance. There are several reasons for this, which we won't go into today. But as a rule of thumb, aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight. For advanced athletes or those with very low body fat, that number can go as high as 1.1 gram per pound. Fats are just as essential. They are key to hormonal health and construction of cell membranes, maintaining nervous system balance and ensuring the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Cutting them too drastically would compromise critical functions. So what's left? Carbs. When you're building a fat loss strategy, carbs become the most adjustable macronutrient, not because they are bad, but because they are the one variable you can reduce in a smart, controlled way without wrecking your muscle tissue or hormone balance. That's why it's not a good idea to drastically cut fat either. So when the goal is to reduce body fat, carbs remain the macro we can lower, not because they are the villain, but because they are the one we can play with the most to create calorie deficit without compromising muscle mass or hormonal function. But let's be clear, carbs are not bad, quite the opposite. They are the primary fuel for your nervous system and muscles. They support recovery, help maintain training intensity, and even regulate leptin, the hormone responsible for satiety and metabolic signaling, which is crucial for keeping your diet sustainable over the long term. That's why in a smartly built nutrition plan, we don't eliminate carbs, we dose them intelligently based on your goals, activity level, and training schedule. In other words, if something has to be sacrificed in a fat loss phase, carbs are the soldier we can send forward, but only within a precise, strategic framework. How do I do it? I don't diet, I follow a system. My personal experience has shown that many diet strategies can be effective because it's not the number of meals that determines success, but the structure, the ratios, and the consistency. It makes little difference whether someone eats 5 times, 3 times, or, like I've done for the past 6 months, only twice a day. What truly matters is your total daily energy balance, your macronutrient distribution, and how well your approach fits into your lifestyle. For me, the 16-8 intermittent fasting protocol has been working well lately, not just because of its benefits, but because it's convenient. I eat twice a day with larger meals, and I follow a carb cycling approach, more carbs on training days, fewer on rest days. I train 4 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and I align my carbs refeeds with that rhythm, especially increasing intake over the weekend. Why? Because that's when I'm most physically fatigued and mentally drained from high cognitive demands throughout the week. These weekend refeeds act as a psychological and physical recharge point, so I can hit the new week with fresh energy and focus. Instead of traditional cardio, I currently take 12 to 14,000 steps a day, which I can evenly distribute throughout the day. This not only helps maintain my daily energy expenditure, but it's also much gentler on recovery, especially when strength training is already part of the weekly routine. Thanks to this combination, I've been able to maintain a low body fat percentage long term while staying strong and stable, all within a system that's comfortable, sustainable, and doesn't require constant recalibration. Of course, this structure can work with different meal distributions too, as long as you understand the underlying principles and adapt them to your own lifestyle. What I've just shared with you is the full picture. There's no sugar coating, no fine print, and no secret ingredient. Unlike the way many athletes conveniently forget to mention steroids because of supplement sponsors. That kind of silence is what misleads people the most. Summary: I don't diet, I follow a system. And this system has nothing to do with genetic luck, but with learning how my body works and aligning my nutrition, training, and recovery accordingly. It's not a magic trick, it's not a secret formula. It's simply a structure that works, and I stick to it. And that's exactly what you can do too. Because if I, someone who started with zero genetic advantage, could build a body that stays lean, strong, and functional year-round, then you can absolutely do it as well. After today's video, you can see it clearly. You don't need to starve yourself. You don't need to force anything down your throat. You just need to finally understand why you're doing what you're doing. That's a game changer, because from that point on, you are not blindly following someone else's rules, you're building your own system. One that makes sense, one that gives you control. This isn't a challenge, it's a mindset shift that can last a lifetime. And if you want to build this system for yourself step by step, the Final Form app gives you everything you need to do it. Start with the recipe collection, where you will find actual meals with exact macros and full instructions, so you will never have to guess what to eat again. Then go through the 10-part nutrition guide video series included in the app. It will give you a full understanding of how dieting actually works and teach you how to build your own sustainable system from the ground up. And if you don't want to do it alone, guided training programs are here to support you at every level. Whether you're just starting out or you've been training for years, you will not only learn how to train and eat right, but you will also become part of a community of people walking the same path as you. And with the mindset guides, we will help you clear out those internal blocks so you can optimize your performance by shifting how you think. Download the Final Form app from the App Store or Google Play, and with this one move, you won't just change your body for good, you will change your life. Let me know your questions, thoughts, or even your personal story. What mistakes have you made with dieting and what did you learn from them? Drop it in the comments and let's talk about it. Thanks for watching this video, and if you want to know the top 5 training myths we will bust in the next one, click here. See you next week. And remember, training is just the first step. The real change is you.